Ayan. Okay. So, good afternoon po to all the parents and teachers that are watching us today. Ayan. Okay. So, I'd like to start my talk with a short story. 7 years ago when I was still an intern, we had this program where we would go to rural areas to give free therapy programs. So this was when I came across a patient who forever changed my life. So 36-year-old male diagnosed with Down syndrome. And if you remember when your child first started therapy, we usually ask you the question, "Ma'am, ano kayang goal natin para kay baby?" So I asked this to my patient's mom, and ayun, this patient's mom was already in her 60s, and she answered me, "Iham, pinagdadasal ko na lang talaga, maunang mamatay yung anak ko bago ako. Kasi, Iha, walang mag-aalaga sa anak ko eh. Kawawa naman kung mauna akong mamamatay sa kanya." And na-shock talaga ako. Alam niyo, akala ko this was an isolated case. But over the course of my practice, I've heard 4 more parents tell this to me. So which brings me to my talk. I'd like you to imagine the problems you went through when you were growing up. Ano nga ba yung mga problema natin na nagkakos ng stress? Failing in your examinations, having to repeat an extra semester, which caused a delay in your graduation, problems in your relationships, having to go through a painful breakup, dealing with third parties, a marriage life, or having to go through an annulment. How about financially struggling to make ends meet? Passing hundreds of resumes, but it's already been months and not a single company has ever called you back. Having an overly insensitive boss, having problematic coworkers. How about being in your 30s or 40s and being suddenly diagnosed with diabetes or life-threatening disease? Without a doubt, madami tayong problemang na-encounter sa buhay. Problems are inevitable. One day you're fine, and then suddenly pagdilat mo ng mata mo sa umaga, naka-lockdown na pala tayo, and over the course of a few days, you're already finding yourself without an income, without a job, without anything to feed your family. And oftentimes, sa sobrang dami ng problema, we experience feelings of depression, anxiety, guilt, and even anger. And here's the lurking problem I present to you today. According to the World Health Organization, over 260 million people of all ages suffer from depression. And according to an article written by Cheryl Weinstock and a separate article by Dr. Carl Sherman, I found out that adults who are in the spectrum or have been diagnosed with ADHD are 4 times more likely to experience depression over the course of their lives, unlike their neurotypical peers. And we are only talking about depression. Wala pa yung statistics ng ibang mental health disorders natin tulad ng bipolar disorders and personality disorders. Yung problema natin with mental health disorders, hahatiin ko sa dalawa. And I put here a megaphone to tell you that this is extremely important. It's that number 1, most health disorders, mental health disorders silently stem from childhood, and that number 2, it will reveal itself in 20, probably 30 years from now. Probably right now you're thinking, hindi to mangyayari sa anak ko. Hindi yan magkakaroon ng depression eh. Masayahing bata to, hindi nga lang nakakapagsalita. Hindi ko yan sinasaktan o sinisigawan. Hindi yan madedepress. And as much as I would love to agree with you, we can never be so sure. 50% of mental illnesses begin by 14 years of age. The other half begins by age 24. Buti sana kung makikita natin ito agad, 14 years old pa lang. we can easily dismiss a mental illness as just a phase or tinatamad lang or wala lang sa mood. So para itong cancer na oftentimes nadedetect na lang kapag matindi na. And although mental health disorders are still manageable, by the time your child is in his 20s or 30s or even 40s, how old will you be? Will you still have enough strength to guide and assist your child? Being a parent or a guardian to a person with special needs is a lifetime job. So why do I know this? Because I have a 20-something-year-old brother diagnosed with ADHD and intellectual disability. I've seen how mental health issues evolved over time, not only sa brother ko, but also to my parents. But for now, what if I told you that there is a way for us to hopefully prevent these events from happening? Ayan. Um, Always remember, parents, that it will be hard for you to pour from an empty cup. Mahirapan tayong i-ensure na mentally healthy ang ating mga bulilit kung tayo mismo hindi mentally healthy. Okay? Yeah. Next. Okay, next. So how can we do this? The first step and the hardest one of all is to pause. Okay, in today's fast-paced, stressful world, have you taken the time to pause? Man, I understand parents are busy. You're busy making ends meet. You're busy keeping the house clean. You're busy making sure everyone has a roof over their heads. You're busy making sure that everyone has something to eat. But have you ever taken the time to pause and reflect on how your relationship with your children is? Has it been routinary? Paliliguan, pakakainin, bibihisan, you're ready for school, ihahatid sa school, susunduin sa school, ihahatid sa therapy, susunduin sa therapy, uwi, kakain, patutulugin. Has it been fast-paced? Teacher, hindi ko kasi siya nabibigyan ng time na kumain mag-isa kasi makalat, tsaka may pasok pa ako sa work, kaya kailangan mabilisan kami gumalaw. Ay, teacher, para po makapaglinis kasi ako ng bahay, binigyan ko na lang ng cellphone para kasi hindi malikot at maingay eh. So when was the last time you actually sat down to play and talk with your children to really observe how they play and interact with other people? Have you observed when your child started sharing toys, understanding feelings, and showing empathy? Or were you focused on your child's ability to recite the alphabet, count up to 100, sing a nursery rhyme, or get a grade of 95 in math? So let's pause for a short while. Because while this step looks so simple, it's actually the most crucial one sa lahat ng sasabihin ko sa inyo today. Step number 2 is to ask for everyone's cooperation. And when I mean by everyone directly involved with caring for your child. Observe your family dynamics in relation to your child. Si mommy, si daddy, si kuya, si ate, si bunso, si tita, si tito, si lola, si lolo, even si yaya. Observe them. And we will dive more into this when we get to the next reminder. Okay. Reminder number 2 is that we have to apply the goodness of it. Before we understand what goodness of fit is, we have to understand 2 pieces of the puzzle. This reminder tells us to observe 2 critical things. You have to observe your child's temperament and observe your parenting style. So what is temperament? It's a set of characteristics or traits that each of us is born with. Some experts even say na nasa tiyan pa lang ni mami, meron nang nagde-develop na temperament in babies. So para madali lang, let's discuss these 3 kinds of temperament. So itong mga easy kids ay ang mga batang madali lang kausapin, madali lang silang pasunurin. Sila yung pag sinabi mag-aral, mag-aaral yan agad. Tsaka pag sinabi mong, magmano ka sa tita mo, pita-pita pa yan. Magsasabing, good morning tita, kamusta na po? So sila yung mga batang kapag pinapasok mo sa therapy area, dire-diretso kaagad sila sa mga toys at mag-greet pa sila sa lahat ng teachers. Meron din tayong mga batang difficult. Okay, so sila yung mga batang kahit lahat ng gawa mo na, sobrang hirap talaga nilang palakihin. Sobrang tigas ng ulo ng mga batang ito. At meron din tayong mga slow to warm up kids. Yung mga batang slow to warm up, sila kadalasan yung mga batang nare-refer for therapy. Sila yung mga batang hindi madali utusan o makaintindi ng instructions. Kadalasan, napapagkamalan silang mga difficult kids. Pero pag binigyan mo ng attention, inayos mo yung pagbibigay mo ng instructions, mapapansin niyo eventually over time, bumibilis-bilis na silang mag-respond. Sila yung mga bata na kapag pumasok sa therapy room, iiyak pa muna yan. Pero pag inututo mo ng konti, mapapansin mo, maya-maya pa, ikot na siya ng ikot sa therapy area. At nailabas na lahat ng toys. Pero meron ding mga kids na difficult. Yung kadalasang concerns ng mga parents ay konting, may mawala lang na gamit niya, sobrang-sobra na yung galit ng bata. Ito yung mga bata, hindi mo lang mabigay yung gusto niya, maglulupasay na kagad sa sahig. So, yun. Mapapansin niyo din po na kung meron po kayong 2 anak or 3, magkakaiba po sila ng personality. So, may isang madaling utusan, may isang anak na kapag inutos mo na Monday, kusa naman niyang gagawin. Pero, mga Friday na. So, may isang rinig sa buong barangay ang sigaw ng nanay pero hindi pa rin sumusunod. So, yun. So, according to a TED Talk by child psychiatrist, Dr. David Retu, 50 to 60% of temperament comes from genes. So, namamana siya. And although it looks like a big percentage, we still have a lot of room for influence from the environment. So, environment meaning yung mga taong nakakasalamuha ng bata. Most especially yung mga primary caregivers nila. Which means that although we have kids who are slow to warm up or difficult, we still have a 40 to 50% chance to influence it. So here's the other part of the puzzle. Yung primary caregivers ng mga kids natin. Yung mga parents. For other kids is their lolas or their lolos. Yun. So our parents, of course, they also have their own temperament and personality, which also influences yung parenting style nila. So let's say yung kid natin na nung matutong gumamit ng crayons, na-excite at pinagmamarkahan ang mga walls. So next please. So parents who are authoritative, for sure magagalit yan kagad. Sila yung mga parents na sobrang strict na kapag may behavior silang hindi ine-expect. Mapapagalitan ka talaga at meron silang ibibigay na punishment. Mapapalo ka or masisigawan. There are parents who are authoritative. So sila yung mga parents na magagalit sa ginagawa mo pero malumay silang makikipag-usap at i-explain nila sa bata kung bakit mali ang ginawa nila. Pwedeng magbigay sila ng mas malumanay na punishment. Kunwari, grounded ang bata for a week sa panonood ng TV. Isang parent natin, sila yung mga permissive. So sila yung mga pinabayaan na lang nila maglaro yung bata kasi ganyan naman talaga, di ba? Mga bata sila, makakalat, makukulit. So sige, basta hindi ka mahulugan ng mga gamit dyan, pwede ka na magkulay sa pader. So yung last parent naman, ito si parent na uninvolved. So yan yung parent na para tumigil na sa pagkukolor ng pader, sa pader ng bata. Para hindi na makulit, tsaka makalat, bibigyan na lang ng cellphone. Tapos, magre-resume na siya ulit sa ginagawa niya. So, here's where the goodness of it comes in. We have to observe our children's temperament and we have to match it. Hindi pwedeng other way around na ang mga bata ang susunod sa, ang mga parents ang susunod sa temperament ng bata. So, one parent can have one parenting style and one parent can have a combination of parenting styles. So, pwede din both parents utilize different parenting styles. So, pwedeng isang easy kid, both parents niya ay authoritative. Pwede din si difficult kid na mayroong combination of a mother na permissive at father na authoritarian. Pwedeng si slow to warm up child, parehong parents na yung uninvolved at naiiwan siya kadalasan kay yaya or sa lola. And as much as I would love to, I cannot possibly tell you which combination is the best because we have a lot of factors to consider. So, minsan kasi madaming bata, tingin natin, nag-work ang authoritative parenting style sa kanya. Pero pagdating ng teenage years niya, sobrang dysfunctional. Madaming bata na magagaling pala, pero hindi lang sila nabibigyan ng chance to learn kasi ang parents sobrang fast-paced ng buhay. Kapag i-ready na ang bata for school, kailangan mabilisan lahat, yung pagligo, pagbihis, pagkain. So, hindi na natuto yung bata na kumain gamit ng spoon and fork kasi kailangan mabilis ang pagkilos dahil malate na sila sa school. But I'll give you an example. Let's say we have this 5-year-old boy whose name is Sam. Si Sam, dinala siya ni mommy sa therapy kasi hindi daw siya nakikipag-communicate. So, first day of therapy, iyak lang daw siya ng iyak. Pero pag nakita niya ang cellphone, matinis ang pandinig. Alam niya kaagad kasi niya hahanapin ang sounds. Magaling pa yan kasi alam niya kung saan hahanapin ang YouTube kahit bagong cellphone lang ito. So, third session na niya sa therapy pero naiya pa din siya sa teacher niya. Nare-recite lahat ng shapes. Pero kapag naiba yung toy na gagamitin, parang hindi niya na alam yung shape. Pero let's say, ng 10th session na nila ni teacher, napansin ni teacher, ang galing ni Sama. Kusa na siyang pumapasok sa clinic. Nag-greet pa yan sa lahat ng teachers. Tapos pag may pinagawa kang activity na naggawa niya na dati, okay, galing na siya doon. Oh. So we'll consider Sam a slow to warm up kid. So let's try to match the first parenting styles with Sam. So, kaninong parent kaya makaka-thrive si Sam at makaka-reach ng fullest potential niya? Kay daddy na kapag inutos ni daddy na magsuot ng sapatos at hindi maayos ang pagkakasuot, masisigawan kaagad si Sam? Or kay mommy kaya na kapag hindi naintindihan ni Sam kung paano magsuot ng sapatos, tsatsagayin ni mommy na hati-hatiin yung instructions hanggang sa maintindihan ni Sam? Or kay tita kaya na nung nakita niya si Sam na nahihirapan magsuot ng sapatos, si tita na lang nagsuot kasi naisip niya, mahirap pa naman siguro para sa 5 years old magsuot ng sapatos, di ba? Or kay lola kaya na ang sabi pagpahin niyo na lang yung si Sam kasi hindi naman marunong magsuot eh. Yan. So, if you remember a while ago, I told you that you need to ensure that everyone in the family is cooperative. So this means that you have to consider what the styles that the people inside the family use. So paano kung si Sam na slow to warm up ay sinamahan ni mommy and daddy sa therapy? And the therapist encourages them to use a combination of authoritative and authoritarian approach kay Sam. Pero, kapag nasa work si mom and daddy, Monday to Friday, may iwan si Sam kay Yaya. At si Yaya, uninvolved ng style na ginagamit niya. Or si tita, si tito, si lolo, si lola, na permissive ang style. Or even siblings that are bossy and authoritative. So this will cause so much confusion for Sam. So we need to make sure that there is goodness of fit in Sam's environment. Not only between Sam and his parents. Okay. The last one is that you need to water everything. So let's imagine your kid has a garden. Let's imagine that your garden contains 4 kinds of plants. So for a garden to look nice, you have to pamper your plants, di ba? The first is the mongo plant or the intelligence quotients. Ang munggo, lagyan mo lang ng water, kinabukasan may progress na yan. This is the same with IQ. A child's knowledge, mabilis lang para sa atin makita ang results. Magturo ka ng shapes, ng alphabets, ng body parts. A few days or weeks or months, makakakita ka na ng progress. Sa school, every quarter may basahan ka kagad kung matututo ba yung anak mo or hindi. And when the school year ends, malalaman mo kagad kung pwede na siyang mag-progress sa kasunod na level. And this is why we tend to focus more on IQ. Kaya, ang payabangan ng mga parents, yung anak ko, honor student, yung anak ko, teacher, galing mag-memorize lahat ng shapes, alphabets, body parts. Or yung anak ko, teacher, galing sa nursery rhymes. And it's because we can immediately see the results. Yeah. So the other plant is a non-flowering plant. A non-flowering plant takes a few years to grow even if you water it every day. So it's also the same with emotional quotient or EQ. So upon birth, a child already knows how to understand feelings and emotions. Nandun sa way kung paano siya hawakan, kung paano siya pansinin ng parents niya kapag umiyak siya. Pag lumaki ng konti, madedevelop niya ito sa way na kung paano niya i-distinguish ang boses ng galit na mommy sa happy na mommy. And then slowly you'll start to notice your 2-year-old already starts to have his own set of emotions. Lulungkot na siya, nagtatantrums na siya, nagagalit na. And by the time he's 5, he'd probably be able to tell you why he's feeling angry or feeling disappointed. By the time he's 5, he'd probably be able to tell you why he's feeling angry or feeling disappointed. By the time he's 6, you'll see him getting frustrated because of more complex scenarios. Katulad ng may nakaaway siya sa school. Yan. So the third plant is a flowering plant. Ito medyo mas matagal ng konti bago lumabas ng flowers, kahit araw-araw mo siyang diligan. And we'll call this a social quotient. This is the way your child socializes with other people and how he is able to maintain a good circle of friends. And I'm sure your parents were told, yung mga anak natin at an early age, dapat ipakita natin kung paano sila dapat i-treat ng mga tao sa paligid nila. Para paglaki nila, alam nila kung sino ang dapat nilang maging kaibigan or pakasalan. So kung ikaw, daddy, may daughter ka, you were told na you treat her like a princess para alam niya kung paano siya dapat i-treat ng isang lalaki. Kung ikaw, mommy, may son ka, dapat palakihin mo siya na marunong kung paano trumato ng isang babae. Para kapag nanligaw, na marunong siya. So, see, from childhood, you water this plant. But you'll only start to see the results kapag nag-umpisa ng bumarkada ang bata. And the last one in your garden is a tree. A tree, i-water mo yan every day. Per decades pa bago mo makikita ang results niya. And this is the most critical part of your garden. When you see the results, there's almost nothing else you can do. Kung meron man, mahirap na gawin. Matanda ka na, hindi mo na maaakyat yung puno para tanggalin yung mga masasamang branches nito. And this is what we call AQ, or the adversity quotient. And this is what I'd like for us to focus on today. So AQ aims to look at how we cope in the face of adversity. AQ believes that when people are thrown adversities or challenges in life, we show resilience. Ang challenges natin sa life, it's inevitable. Lagi tayong may problemang kailangan harapin. And adversity does not excuse people with special needs. Life goes on. By the time siya is 16 years old, when he starts to realize na hindi niya kayang ipasa ang UPCAT, when he's 17 years old and he starts to apply for a driver's license at silalubong siya ng fixer sa kanto pagbaba pa ng LRT. When he's 18 years old and experiences his first heartbreak. When he's 22 and cannot even finish his internship. When he's 23, a fresh college graduate na hindi makapag-apply. When he's 28 and starting his own family but struggling with money. When he's 31 and experiences his first failed investment. When he's 33 and can't even pay the rent for the house he's living in. When he's 38 and dealing with a divorce. When he's 45 and gets fired from a job. when he's 50 and already suffering from a rare type of cancer. How we all wish as parents, nandyan pa rin tayo to help our kids. And like the question in that story, I told you kanina, by the time your child is already 50 years old, how old will you be? Will you still be strong enough to assist your child? And what if I told you that the problems we experience as adults started with challenges much smaller and simpler when we were children? Like a failed science test or a project that we couldn't submit. Or the way we manage time sa sobrang dami ng homeworks. Or yung mga araw-araw na tamad ka bumangon para pumasok sa school. Do you think kung yung mga parents natin pinagalitan ng teacher natin dahil sa dami ng requirements o ginawa ang mga assignments natin for us, or pinabayaan tayo matulog at hindi na pumasok sa school, would we ever learn how to be resilient at work? How about the time when we were asked to dress up on our own or take a bath or do our house chores? For sure, no one ever started perfectly. Ilang beses tayong napapagalitan kasi baliktad yung pagkakasuot natin ng shorts or nagsuot ka ng gusot-gusot na uniform kasi nakalimutan mong magplancha or nakabasag ka ng pinggan. Would we ever learn kung ang mga magulang natin ang palaging gagawa para sa atin? Malalaman ba natin kung paano ang tamang hawak ng plato kung hindi pa natin na-experience makabasag ng plato? Malalaman ba natin kung ano itsura ng pangit na pagkakawalis ng bahay kung minsan hindi mo pa nasusubukan magwalis? It's in the time when we were given baon. 50 pesos lang every day. How will you budget it? Gagamitin mo ba ito para ilibre ang mga friends mo? Or ipapangkain mo lang ng lunch? Or magpe-prepare ka ba ng baon or save mo yung 50 pesos para in a month, meron kang pambili ng toy na gusto mo? Naturuan ba tayo ng parents natin kung anong value ng pera? Natutunan ba natin na kahit piso lang kailangan natin pahalagahan? If we could not be trusted with 50 pesos, can we ever be trusted with 10,000, 20,000, 100,000? What if I told you that it's in the way we dealt with bullies or group mates na hindi nagko-contribute sa group work? What if it's in the way we dealt with speaking in a big crowd or ordering your own food from Jollibee or asking for help from your teacher kasi hirap ka na sa assignment mo? Did our parents go to school to confront the bullies? Or did our parents teach us how to be brave and respond appropriately? Deny ba tayo ng mga parents natin sa tamang way ng pag-order sa Jollibee? Or palaging silang umu-order para sa inyo? And lastly, maybe it's in the way we were rejected. Gusto ko ng magandang toy na umiilaw, pero wala pang pambili si daddy eh. Gusto ko maglaro ng cellphone, pero hindi pwede kasi hindi ko pa schedule. Gusto ko maglaro sa time zone, pero may school pa ako bukas. Gusto ko manalo sa contest, pero hindi naman ako nagpa-practice. Ayaw gumawa ng assignment, nagtatantrums, binigyan ng cellphone para tumigil. Ayaw sumunod sa utos, nagtantrum, sabi bibilan daw ng toy. Ayaw mag-participate sa activities, nagtantrum, sige, punta tayo sa Enchanted Kingdom. So we will all experience rejection probably 1,000 times throughout our lifetime. But how well were our parents able to teach us that rejection is okay? As a parent with a particular parenting style, were you able to take the opportunity to use these adversities to teach your child resilience? Did you brush it off kasi naisip natin, bata pa naman siya, matututunan din niya yun paglaki? Or have we ever made our children's condition an excuse? Teacher, may ASD po kasi siya kaya hirap po pasunurin. So here's my last message to end this talk. To our parents, let's take it as a challenge to water our trees every day. Remember that mentally healthy adults start from being mentally healthy children in a mentally healthy family. You have the remaining 40 to 50% to shape your children's temperament and resilience with appropriate parenting style. Do not ever underestimate time. Mabilis lang ang oras. Start with the simple little things today. And if you're having a hard time with this one, don't worry. It's really something you would need to discuss with your child's therapists. We understand totally that you parents have a lot of things to juggle in your plate between work and home. Your therapists can definitely help you. We are not only therapists to your children, but also therapists to you parents. And it is part of our job to find out how we can help you work around your current situation so that we can ensure that you can water your garden every single day. Thank you, and that in all things, God may be glorified.